Israel has opened a new temporary evacuation route to allow people to leave Gaza City after launching its expanded ground offensive yesterday. The temporary route is along Salah el-Din Street, which runs down the middle of Gaza from north to south. It will be open for just 48 hours until noon on Friday. Until now, Gaza City residents have left via the El Rashid coastal road towards what it calls a humanitarian zone further south, including parts of El Mawasi. The coastal road out of the city was packed with those trying to evacuate, some on foot, others in vehicles or cars. The IDF says more than 350,000 people have already fled Gaza's largest urban center, where around 1 million were estimated to be living in. Those who left described the most intense bombardment they have faced since the war began. The Israeli military says they have struck more than 150 targets in Gaza's largest urban center. That's, of course, Gaza City, since launching its expanded ground offensive yesterday. The IDF releasing footage of its ground assault showing tanks and other vehicles rolling into Gaza City. Health authorities in Gaza say Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 19 Palestinians overnight, with more than 90 killed yesterday. And for more, Blake Sifton is covering this story live for CNA from Tel Aviv. Blake, evacuation there, what's it been like on the ground for those trying to leave Gaza City?
Good evening, Wei Su. Let me just begin with this heavy bombardment the Israeli military is carrying out in Gaza City. As you said, some 150 targets struck within the last 2 days. Now, at least some of those airstrikes and artillery shelling has damaged the communications grid in northern Gaza. We understand that cell phone service and the internet is down for many, many people in Gaza City and across the north. And that inability to communicate, to seek information, has made an already confusing and frightening situation much, much worse for many people. And even with the opening of the second evacuation route by the Israeli military from today until Friday, it's still chaotic scenes in Gaza City. People are trying to find vehicles to take them to the south. We understand that the cost of a trip to be relocated from Gaza City to the south is now some $2,000. Of course, that's prohibitively expensive for many people at this stage in the war in Gaza. People are trying to get trucks so they can bring their furniture, they can bring their mattresses, they can bring their possessions. But if they can't find trucks, they're shoving what they can into smaller vehicles, onto carts pulled by donkeys, and in some cases simply putting it on their backs or carrying what they can in their arms and walking. So very desperate situations there. And people as well, many say that they believe that in leaving, they will never be allowed to return to their homes in the north. And again, when they do get to the south, UN and aid organizations have said that those areas are already overwhelmed. The hospitals are overwhelmed. They're already over capacity, full of people. In some cases, there's very little room to put up new tents. The Israeli military has said that they have built an additional humanitarian infrastructure, new water pipelines. They provided tents, but aid organizations say that the situation in terms of humanitarian infrastructure is woefully inadequate. It's also known, of course, that there have been airstrikes in this so-called safe zone, and many people feel that it will not be safe either. And yesterday, there were reports of at least one vehicle of people fleeing Gaza City being struck and killed by the Israeli military.
Blake, aid organizations, just one of several voices that have opposed this Israeli ground offensive in Gaza City. Former countries and organizations that might have backed Israel in the past also backing away from giving any further support for this ground offensive. Have we seen any more concrete measures putting pressure on Israel to hold back on this offensive?
That's right. There is mounting international condemnation. Earlier today, we heard from the Canadian Foreign Ministry, who called this offensive horrific. UK Foreign Secretary earlier had said it is utterly reckless and appalling. And even an Israeli ally like Germany has said that it is completely wrong approach. However, in terms of concrete action that you say, there's been very little apart from words. And today, a collection of rights and advocacy organizations, including Save the Children, Oxfam, and Doctors Without Borders, they put out a joint statement saying that states must use available political, economic, and legal tools at their disposal to intervene. Rhetoric and half measures are not enough. Now, today, the European Commission announced their intention to put in place sanctions on far-right members of Netanyahu's government, including Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. And they're also suggesting ending parts of the free trade agreement with Israel. Of course, the European Union is Israel's largest trading partner. However, it's believed that at this stage, they do not have the support amongst enough EU member states to have these measures passed. Of course, states like Germany, Czech Republic, and Hungary are very much opposed to these measures.
Well, thanks. Blake Sifton there reporting live for CNA from Tel Aviv.